We're about to jump into an incredible intellectual puzzle from the ancient Talmud. It's all about a sacred recipe, a single sentence, and two brilliant minds who looked at the exact same words and walked away with two totally opposite conclusions.
So that's the big question for us today. How is it possible for one rulebook, one single line of text, to lead to two perfectly logical, yet completely contradictory outcomes? Let's dig in.
All right, so let's set the scene. Our story doesn't start in a courtroom or a lab, but in a discussion about a holy recipe, a ritual from the ancient temple in Jerusalem. We're talking about something called the meal offering, or mincha. Now, the recipe itself sounds simple enough. It's just fine flour and olive oil. But when it came to the proportions, well, that's where this huge debate kicked off. So on one side, you've got a group simply known as the Rabbis. They were absolutely convinced that the amount of oil was proportional. Simple, right? More flour, you add more oil. But on the other side, you have Rabbi Eliezer, and he argued, no, the amount of oil is fixed. It never changes no matter how much flour you use. So you have to be asking, how could they both be so sure? Well, this is the amazing part. This entire complex disagreement. It all comes down to how they each interpreted a single verse from the Bible. One sentence. And here it is, Leviticus 14:21. Now, this verse is actually talking about the specific offering for a poor person who's been healed from leprosy. It mentions an ephah of flour and a log of oil, and don't worry, these are just ancient units of measurement. The exact amounts aren't what's important. What is important is that every single word in this sentence is about to become a crucial piece of evidence in a brilliant logical battle.
Okay, let's break this down. First up, the Rabbi's argument. How do they look at this verse and see a proportional rule?
The Rabbis zoom right in on these specific words. They see a direct, undeniable link. A tenth part of flour is mentioned right next to a log of oil. For them, the way these words are placed together is the key that unlocks the whole thing.
So their logic is really straightforward. It's a ratio. The verse connects a tenth part to a log, and that creates a universal recipe. You have 2/10 parts of flour, you need 2 logs of oil. You have 60/10 parts, you need 60 logs. It's a scalable formula, and they believe it's right there in the text.
Okay, but now let's pivot to Rabbi Eliezer. He looks at the very same verse and pulls out a totally different rule. I mean, this is just a masterclass in interpretation. He basically tells everyone, hey, just shift your focus a few words over. He zeroes in on this phrase, for a meal offering and a log of oil. He sees a completely different connection being made here.
And his logic is just as powerful. He argues the verse isn't defining a ratio of ingredients at all. It's defining a rule for the offering as a whole. A meal offering gets a log of oil. Full stop. The size of the offering is irrelevant. Whether it's 1/10 of flour or 60/10, it's still a single meal offering, so it only gets 1 log of oil.
So, there you have it. Two perfectly consistent, logical arguments, both pulled from the exact same sentence. And this is where the intellectual debate really heats up, because now each side has to defend their reading against the other. The rabbis fire back at Rabbi Eliezer. They basically say, okay, if you're right, and the key phrase is a meal offering and a log, then why does the verse even bother mentioning a tenth part? Those words have to mean something, and that's a really powerful challenge. But Rabbi Eliezer has a brilliant defense. He says they're confusing a specific instruction for a general rule. That phrase, a tenth part and a log, isn't some universal ratio. No, it's the literal one-time recipe for this unique case, the poor leper. He claims the Torah had to spell it out like that because otherwise people might have assumed a poor person didn't have to bring the offering at all. And now Rabbi Eliezer turns the tables. He throws a similar challenge right back at the rabbis. All right, if the main rule is the ratio, a tenth part and a log, then what's the point of the words a meal offering and a log? Why are those words in the verse? The rabbis, of course, have a very clever answer. They argue that this part of the verse is actually teaching a completely separate secondary law. That phrase, a meal offering and a log, they say is there to establish the minimum size for a voluntary offering. Basically, you can't bring an offering that's smaller than what requires 1 log of oil, which, according to their ratio, is exactly 1/10 part of flour.
So here's the bottom line. Both sides have built these complete, self-contained, logical systems. Each one has a core piece of evidence, a clear conclusion, and a brilliant explanation for the very words their opponent relies on. Neither argument leaves any part of the verse unexplained. They are both, in their own way, logically airtight.
And this leaves us with a question that's so much bigger than just how much oil to use in an ancient recipe. This whole thing forces us to ask, if two different people can use flawless logic on the exact same set of facts and arrive at opposite truths, what does that tell us about interpretation itself? It suggests that maybe the framework you bring to the evidence is just as important as the evidence itself.